But I also wanted to highlight, too, just how despicable, really, the Igers, or I guess Iger and Bay, Willow Bay, are. You know what I'm saying? Because they said some really terrible things while Chapek was still in power here.
When Chapek realized he was in power only and really didn't have the clout, he started singing, "I'm sitting by the dock of Willow Bay, wasting time."
It's crazy. This whole thing is absolutely nuts, and you'll see what I'm talking about right here, folks. The sections here starts out, Mr. Chapek canceled his trip. You'll note that around this time period of what's being outlined right here, not that one, this one, November 17, 2021, Disney CEO Bob Chapek pulled from Destination D23 appearance out of fear Disney fans would boo him. That was the speculation of the time, because obviously Chapek around this time was accruing a reputation that was not great for the parks, and
he was the boogeyman. He was the he was the author of all of Disney's atrocities. He was
yes.
They said in the Clone Wars, they said the reason General Grievous existed was to have a guy to pin everything on, or that's what Dooku thought. Dooku thought Grievous was the guy they were going to pin all the atrocities on, while he got to go on and be a part of the Empire. That's what Bob Chapek was.
Right.
He was a patsy.
And I'll
in other words, when Iger offered him the job, it's a trap.
I will say, though, for Chapek, that's probably the biggest thing that he actually learned from Bob Iger, that he did like how he does, just avoid having any audience in front of you and just manipulate, make it artificially look like you're good, and just avoid those boos. Now, if he just used some voice to speech or text to voice, he'd be all the way there.
Absolutely, 100%.
I wonder if this is the same reason why it was Dave Filoni instead of Kathleen Kennedy at D23 this year. Are they pulling the same thing here?
Exactly.
That's an interesting idea. That's the big speculation, right?
I fully believe that. Like, even though, yes, that is speculation, everybody, not a legally admissible statement, but at this point, Kathleen Kennedy has no credibility with anybody, whereas Dave Filoni, for some reason, still has some amount of clout with our zone of Star Wars fans.
They're already starting. Dave Filoni is the Bob Chapek here. They made him chief creative officer to be the fall guy. So, but that's another story.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Day.
Oh, absolutely. This is why Iger, by the way, earlier in our segment, he rushed out the door, seemingly just inexplicably. This guy had postponed retirement not once, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 times prior, on the eve of getting the Fox deal all arranged, on the eve of starting up Disney Plus, all these things, and then right when you got some trouble in China brewing, oh, I'm out, peace out. What?
The greatest leaders. Yeah. Don't you hear about that in the history book? How the greatest leaders, when they were stuck with the face of adversity, they decided to stand by their man. Nah, I'm just gonna book it for the mountains. I'm running out. Bye, everybody.
And if you listen to Bob when he would talk about these things where he was supposed to retire and would put it off, he always made it sound like it was some great sacrifice that he was making for the good of the company. Oh, well,
yes.
if I must step back in, I'll do it. Yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah.
So it is, it's not to make another Star Wars reference, but it was Palpatine getting the emergency powers, forced on him, quote unquote. Yes. Like, I love democracy. These powers I will lay down when the crisis has been averted.
Absolutely. 100%.
You got to go back to Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, guys. 3 times they put the crown in front of me, and 3 times I put it aside.
There you go. That's perfect right there.
Something like that. But meanwhile, the one group that should have been thrilled with Chapek, go look at the stock price.
You remember this, Marty, right? Where the speculation was at the time that they pulled Chapek from Destination D on November 17, 2021, because they felt fans would boo him. This article outlines, well, there might have been an ulterior motive at work here. And I tend to favor this one. I don't know about you, Marty, but it would seem around this time, Chapek was being outmaneuvered and subverted at every single point. He was losing control of not only the company, but his rapport with the board and so forth. Marty, do you think he has to attend this retirement party at Iger's estate at this time, or convenient excuse?
Well, what was it? The whole idea on this was that he had to leave D23 to do Iger's retirement party, correct?
Right.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know. It's so hard to find out where the marionette is going. Like all the strings that are being pulled. Like I am not a fan of Chapek. I do feel like he ruined a lot of the park experiences for me. But the more stuff that comes out, it's like he was set up to fail 100%.
Well, Willow Bay decides to join in on this whole madness as well. On November 19th, he arrived for the party at the same time as Thomas Schumacher, the longtime president of Disney's Broadway division. Thomas Schumacher also connected to the Disney Renaissance in a big, profound way and was one of the brokers between John Lasseter and the Walt Disney Company at that time to get Pixar included for the lead up to Toy Story.
Oh, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to say, when you pulled this back up, I saw Mr. Schumacher. I legit thought this might have been Joel Schumacher for a minute. I'm like, how did he get involved with this?
No.
The true mastermind.
Yeah, exactly. Miss Bay, Mr. Iger's wife, was outside greeting guests as they arrived. Thomas Schumacher, it's been too long, she gushed. I can't believe you came all this way. She embraced Mr. Schumacher. Chapek stood awkwardly by until she finally turned to him. Hi, Bob. I see you all the time, she said. She turned back to Schumacher. Oh, goodness gracious. That's how the evening starts, guys. That was the greeting to this whole reception, which, by the way, this is the retirement
the
party.
writing style of this paragraph moved away from the sort of like analytical that it was before, and now it reads sort of like the recap of a police report about a murder. Like that's how it feels like it begins to me. At 2:04, at 8:18, they entered the house. Miss whatever turned to the other one and said, "Nice, I see you here often." Then they made their way to the that's what something's about to go down.
As Marvin and I particularly have recent reason to recall, basic adage: better Mr. Schumacher than Miss Tessmacher, or vice versa. So because we recently did Superman, for the genre guys. But anyway. Well, bumpy night, and they show us a picture of the teacups.
It's gonna be bumpy. I guess you witnessed the exchange called Bette Davis's memorable line in All About Eve.
Well, if you assume
it's gonna be a bumpy
both
night.
of these guys are trying to promote their dominance,
yes,
this could be the caucus race from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. Oh, you're right about that. About 80 guests were seated at 3 long tables outdoors behind the house. Mr. Iger was flanked by Mr. Spielberg, Miss Lee of Disney Animation, that's Jennifer Lee, and Mr. Chapek was in the middle of the table farthest from Iger's. Okay, well, that's, Power Dynamics already seating and taking their place. Iger began a speech recognizing people who helped and inspired him. In one of his first jobs at ABC, Iger had worked as an assistant to the acclaimed sportscaster Al Michaels, which, by the way, why is Al Michaels there? Well, not only was he profound in the establishment of ESPN, but as part of a deal to get back Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
What a trade.
They traded Al Michaels to Comcast for it. That is so wild. That's such a crazy story, but Michael's
We'd like
still
to
there.
trade our all-star sportscaster for 2 animated characters to be named later.
And then we won't even do anything with them.
Oh, that's the worst thing as well, Spencer. Dang it, Bob. Iger mentioned that back in the day, he and Mr. Michaels had covered dirt track racing in Indiana. Terre Haute. Sorry.
The joke in my family is it's all the way out to Terre Haute. It's like a line from A Christmas Story. Yeah. So Terre Haute, I love seeing the representation right here for Terre Haute.
Well, yeah, I like seeing it too. Until
tall or high. So that's where the name comes from. Is French.
Oh, gotcha.
Mountain, basically,
I learned something new
for the wild world of sports. Iger looked toward Chapek and went off script. That's your area, isn't it, Bob? He asked, referring to Terre Haute in rural southwestern Indiana. You know all about those dirt tracks. Mr. Chapek's hometown of Hammond is near Chicago. He seethed at what he felt was a put down.
Oh, yeah.
Mean Girls. It absolutely
my God.
He felt? How many here feel with him? Of course it was.
Yes. Absolutely.
When did this transition to a novel? Like this sounds like a bestseller right here.
That's what I was saying. Something is about to go down. We're about to all lose our minds.
Let's put it this way:
4 paragraphs.
If they made a movie of this, it would sell more tickets than Captain America's going to do.
This is just, I mean, what
Oh no, I was just saying. I was just making a joke to Luke. He said more tickets than Captain America, and I said what, 5?
oh, yes.
You know, it reminds me
At
of
the very least, it should be a nighttime soap, like Dallas or something.
yeah.
It's that kind of story,
I think HBO back in the day
JR.
did a show of a self-made movie on the struggles for the Tonight Show, with Jay Leno. And there was like reports that Jay Leno hid in a closet while David Letterman was having his meeting so he could like get information. This sounds exactly like so much of that with the backstabbing and all the workings on the outside.
wild?
I mean, it's just crazy.
I mean, it's just, to me, it's insane that you would treat somebody like that, especially given the context, the setting. I mean, this is with bigwigs all over Hollywood, all the people that, Chapek would assumingly have to earn a rapport with later. I mean, just the ultimate put down right here by Bob Iger. Iger pushed on, worked his way through his career thanking people, and then paused when he reached the present. I think I'll just stop right there. He says, "Thank you all for coming." There was no such praise, no further mention of Chapek. Chapek reddened as he felt every gaze turn on him. He stood up and stalked out. Oh,
What a petty child Iger is.
What is happening here?
That-
Good.
Oh, you're missing
God.
something, guys. Yeah,
Mm.
it's petty and it's stupid and it's childish. And he knew his audience was for him.
Oh,
He wouldn't have done that if he hadn't already read the room and invited the people in a way
Yes,
that he had planned this all in advance and knew that he could send the signal. If you have business with Disney, even though his name is on the front door, mine's on the door upstairs with the shower, call me. This was a calculated thing.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
Complete
if you get down to the basics of it, Chapek's being brought up should be the most important decision Iger ever made to make sure that the company was in
Yes.
good hands. And
That's true.
And by doing this, he knows he's undermining his own critical decision, the most important decision, which is a transition to make sure the company is good for years to come. But he
Right.
sat there, he had to go and lay the groundwork to cover that so that people don't look at him like that. Like that there won't be the critical
That's right.
opinions on him for the most important decision he was supposed to make, which is,
yes.
the transition.
It's the answer to the inevitable question of why did you pick this putz if
Yes.
things go bad? And why would he care? Because he still thinks 1600 Pennsylvania is in his future.
Now that I think about it, maybe he should have attended Destination D on that day. Because, maybe the booze might be fielded a little bit better than that.
Or a reality check.
Yeah, and this isn't the only instance of Iger acting like a complete child right here, and just so uncalled for, so immature. There's an instance in which
But if that's immaturity, Hollywood's kindergarten. They're all buying it.
and
That's
true.
what you got to realize. He doesn't see
Yep.
it that way.
Yep.
He sees it as, I'm the snarkiest snark of you all. Ha ha ha. Aren't I wonderful?
And his wife joins into the fray.
Sure.
It's just
Who
it's
also
terrible.
comes out of TV news. They don't think like we do. They don't think like, never mind politics or left and right. They don't think like human beings because they're about the big issue and what somebody's going to say about them afterwards, not about the actual what's going on at that moment. They just don't live in the same world. So
They don't.
there's that.
As outlined right here with the story, by early October, after a 2-hour meeting at Iger's house, this was over the DMED thing, or Disney Media Entertainment Division. This was kind of Chapek's plan of reinventing the Walt Disney Company and doing something about the cultural rot that had infested the company at this point by taking some power away from the creatives. Iger obviously wasn't a fan of it, but they had a meeting about this at Iger's house. Chapek thought he'd gotten Iger's blessing. He was in his car heading back to Westlake Village when Bergman called him. Iger just told me we're not going to do the reorganization to DMED. Bergman said, according to Chapek, he said he hates it. Chapek was dumbfounded. He'd left Iger just 10 minutes earlier. No, it's on. We're doing it, Chapek replied. Chapek said he immediately called Iger and asked if he'd said that to Bergman. Iger says, yes, I hate it. Chapek's like, why didn't you say that to me at the time? Like, I was at your house for 2 hours. Iger didn't answer. Isn't that wild? It's just a crazy way.
So petty.
to-
Good gosh.
It's
It's like watching.
Wait, what did he ask him the question?
Road,
He just
yeah.
sat there in silence. How did he just?
yeah,
not
he just
answer?
sat there in silence. Didn't
Now-
answer.
dumb, I guess. I don't know.
Sorry, Chapek.
Now, you
I
know-
got a third shower I got to do. Take.
Here's
Yeah, exactly.
here's
Go
my
ahead,
question
Nick.
to you guys.
Mhm.
We mentioned before that this reads like a Dallas or Dynasty or one of those nighttime soap where everybody's out to or Yellowstone now. You know, if
Mhm.
you took this and saw it as a totally fictional presentation on TV, would you buy it? Would you, as an audience, believe that these people, because you certainly do with those other shows, as much
Mhm.
as they're exaggerated, as much as they're vile and nasty and do all these dirty tricks, you
Mhm.
buy them because the performers are selling it and the writers are writing it in such a way that you say, you know, in alternate universe number 432, yeah, I could see this really happening.
Well, I'm
But
telling
nobody
you,
reading this story is sitting there going, you mean it really does happen that way with this outfit?
like with that Tonight Show movie that HBO did, if they in 5 years did a documentary based on the struggle that happened during these 2-3 years, you know,
Yeah.
from COVID on, I'd watch that in a second. I would watch
Yeah,
that in a
oh, yeah.
second.
Oh yeah.
I would like
Like,
there
would
to
you
be an award
absolutely
show
believe
going
it
on
was
that
real?
cites the hippo scene. I'd love that to be an Oscar nominee scene for an actor. That would be the ultimate icing on the cake.
He,
Oh,
he
lots of
comes off
shower
like-
scenes.
And
He
furthermore,
comes off like
remember,
Mr. Burns.
if this
Yes.
is a 2-hour TV movie or something or a 2-part special, just like I talk about, it's not selling tickets as far as Acolyte, it's getting subscriptions. The
Mhm.
entire point of that script and of the shooting of it and the directing of it and the performing of it is to get you to come back after the next commercial.
Right.
Is to keep you interested. It's not
Yeah.
to make you say, this is hilarious and strange and bizarre and weird. And I've had enough. You know, I'm tired of all these hold my beer moments for venality. It's like,
Mhm.
but
Hey, I'm calling it, man. Run it on the Peacock.
Yeah. That's a good point right there. That's for sure. This is definitely maybe perhaps a movie or a series in the making. Hey, it could be just called C-Suite. Make it simple. This has a lot of drama, folks, and we've only really scratched the surface here. That is
I think
call it-
Universal. I think Universal needs to get a lot more petty. In its form.
yeah.
Now's the time to do it,
I
man.
agree.
Next year,
I'm pretty
they should, they should make this as a movie. Next year at Halloween Horror Nights, one of the houses should be Blood and Honey. Like,
Great stuff.
just go all the way.
Please name the movie 2 Shower Days, though. That's my only criteria.
Yeah.
no
Shower of a
Ooh.
lifetime.
Ooh, no. Après moi le déluge.
Oh, we're gonna make it
Says what?
fancy.
Well, but that in French, you know, that's
Yeah,
what
after the
what's it,
stab of the
Napoleon
best.
said, or Louis the XIV. After
Mhm.
me, the flood. In other words,
Mm.
after I'm gone, it's the end of civilization as we know it. Well,
That's a fair
isn't
point.
that what Iger's saying? If after me, who cares? Unfortunately,
There's definitely that
a lot of people who
complex.
do care. You know, Mickey
I-
Mouse is collateral damage to these guys. Star Wars is collateral damage.
He's not wrong.
Shower Thoughts, the movie. That's so funny. That was a highlight from our live stream on That Park Place Podcasts online, where the full stream can be found at the link in the description. But what about you? What do you think about this very intriguing and fascinating story? Please let us know in the comments below. Like this video if you did like this video. Share us out as it helps us out tremendously against the YouTube algorithm. And thank you so much for watching. T3BO. Please comment, like, and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to That Park Place Podcasts online, your source for exclusive content and highlights from WDW Pro, The Pro Show, and That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.